Hello, my friends. Welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday for Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. This is Jennifer. Welcome back to my sewing room, guys. I did get a little bit of sewing done last week, and even better, a little bit of planning. I spent more time thinking about my half square triangles, and I mentioned to you guys that I was going to go through my stash again and see what I had. And I have the stash of someone who has historically paper pieced. So I have a ton of fat quarters and half square cuts, but I also have 1/8 yards and 3.5-inch strips and things like that saved for interesting paper piecing projects. And so what I did was I went through all of my fabric. I have a fabric dresser that has all the colors starting with red and going all the way down to like specialty fabrics. I went through everything and I pulled out anything that was like 1/8 of a yard or less that was a light or a bright. And so light backgrounds, bright other half of triangle basically. So I did that, and then I cut out a ton of triangles and I pieced a ton of triangles. I still have triangles in like every state of being. I have some that are ready to piece and some that need a background, and I have some that are pieced and need to be pressed, and I have some pieced that are open. But the big thing that I did, aside from that, is I went ahead and I started kind of planning a quilt layout. And this is very tentative at this point, and I would love to hear what you think about it. So let me share that with you and then we can chat. So up here I have what I think of as my sampler blocks, and then these I'm thinking of as my setting blocks. So all of these will be different, that's my goal. And then all of these will be the same pattern, but since I'm working scrappy, they're all gonna look different. So this is what I have so far. I have not made all of these blocks yet. This is just sort of me idealizing what I might like to do. So I've made 9 so far. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I've made these blocks. I don't know if they're going to go in this order. This is just like randomly planning. I've kind of grayed out what I'm thinking of as the setting block because that's all the same pattern. So what I need to focus on is finding enough to fill all these spaces. So the other blocks here that are not the ones I've already made, so these blocks, I've either found them in EQ or I just played with triangles in EQ until I came up with something I liked. And as I said, and we'll keep saying this year, I'm not in a hurry. And my big thing for this year is trying to slow down, be more human, just focus on being kind, not just to myself, but to everyone else, and really enjoy the process. So I'm not pushing myself in any way. This is just, I kind of want a little bit of a map so that I know which way I'm going, or if I want to sit down and make a block, I have an idea of what I need to work on. So I actually just printed this out so I could show it to you guys, but what I'm planning to do is just mark out as I make the blocks on the map, and then I'll at some point figure out what these 3 are. If you have suggestions, these are half square triangles that make 16-inch blocks. So I just need it to have 16 half square triangles in it. So you guys let me know. 16 half square triangles. If you have a favorite block that I can fill in, I would love to do that. So far I have 1 block ready to piece in the samplers and 1 block ready to piece in the fillers. So again, no hurry, and I've got stuff, it's everywhere right now. I kind of stopped mid pressing when I was in here yesterday, and I just kind of left everything so that I can just go right back in and start pressing again, and I have little stacks everywhere. I did work on one other thing over the weekend, and this was a project that I had done for my husband. I had this set aside for a couple weeks and I just didn't have time to just devote a couple of hours to it, and that was to dye a pair of sweatpants. So he had these sweatpants and he had them for quite a long time. I mean, like years at this point, and just didn't really wear them anymore, and was kind of lamenting that he wished he could find exactly those, but in a darker color. And the colors that were available, he's very tall, so clothes can be hard to find. So I was like, you know what? Those are perfect. They're 100% cotton. I can dye those sweatpants. And so I did. So I used Rit Dye and Rit Dye Fixative, just like I did when I did my jeans not that long ago. And now they are black. So just comfy, everyday sweatpants. He works from home. He doesn't have to dress up for work. These are a pair of his favorites that he's had forever, and now hopefully they'll have a new lease of life. I do love how the thread doesn't take color because I'm sure it's poly or something, but it looks really good because it's like that all over. And so you got like these just little accents of color, and it kind of looks on purpose. Very last thing is a shirt makeover that I showed you guys last year. And this is a 30-year-old shirt, maybe older, that originally belonged to my husband. I altered it to make it fit me, and I have worn it so many times. And I mean, this shirt has seen the rounds. Like, my husband wore it, my eldest child wore it, I wore it. I wore it when I was pregnant. My youngest child is 28. So it's been a minute since we got this shirt, and it's starting to show its age. So I wanted to show you guys this. So I made this, I made it short sleeve, and I made it shorter so it would fit me. But what's starting to happen now is, can you see that? It's starting to thin out up on the shoulders, and by the, there's one, by the neckline. Neckline is also, it's getting pretty ratty. I don't care as much about that. I might just stitch over that to hold it in place, but this I haven't decided what to do with. So I've got it hanging in my sewing room for inspiration. I'm gonna do some sort of mending on this, so if you have suggestions, I would love to hear them. For my couple of people who have been interested in my manicures, I had been using press-on nails from the grocery store, and I was really enjoying them, but I was having to redo them every week to like maybe week and a half. And that was fine. I was really enjoying it. I really kind of wanted something that would last a little longer, and I fell down the rabbit hole of watching gel extension tutorials. I have added some to my my sort of nail journey playlist that I made that are just different tutorials that I have watched and found useful. I just want to show you, these are my first ever gel extensions. I did these about 2 weeks ago now. This one's actually, the tip's kind of wearing out. And what I'm doing is I'm doing the extension and doing like a base coat, and then I'm just putting regular nail polish on top so that I can do whatever I want and change it as much as I want until I need a new set. So I'm having a lot of fun with the nail art. This is one of my favorites. Let's see if I can get it to focus. All right, I'll insert a close up here. I did a little video of my nails so you guys can see, but this is a turtle, and this stamp set, the nail stamps are from Maniology, so I really enjoyed it. And if that's the thing you're interested in, great. And if it's not, I apologize for chatting about my nails too long. It's just something that I've come back to and I've really been enjoying. Been doing lots more cleaning out, and I have an appointment. I have a donation appointment with Austin Creative Reuse in March, so I'll be getting rid of the piles that are building up in front of my design wall. And my hope is that I'll be able to move around a little bit easier in here without some extra stuff. So that's an ever-changing journey. I know a bunch of you are going through that as well. So so I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully next week I'll have a couple more quilt blocks made, and who knows what else. It just depends on what mood strikes me. I'll also be early voting this week because early voting is happening in my area, so that'll be happening. So if you guys have any kind of election or voting going on right now, get out there and do that thing. That is going to be it for me. You guys have a wonderful week. Have a crafty week, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.